So, I mean, we still woke up at 4, but kind of a slower start today. Actually, I'm going to work up my pace, get my knees under me. Yeah, it took us a little while to roll off the couch. I got kicked out by I was going to say my middle child, but I have 2 middle children now. So we did some errands yesterday, and just driving from place to place and doing a little bit of shopping. Tokyo is ludicrously hot. Right now it's 100 degrees. Most days 98, 99. Get lucky with a 97. And from A to B, my daughter fell asleep early, 6:30 p.m. Just crashed on the couch. And then, of course, naturally, right at bedtime, she couldn't sleep. So then we had to get her set up in our bed. And she's kicking me. And finally I got kicked out of my own bed at 1 in the morning. So couch for Joe. Luckily, our couch is incredibly comfortable. We have a love sack, sectional, great branding. So I can sleep on it pretty much any day, even when my wife still loves me. So I've been kicked out quite a couple times. I think part of it is we just did our 13th move from a rather comfortable, cush, large home that was deeply subsidized by Johnson & Johnson into a different home. My abs are sore. And moving into the smaller place, it's a little older. It makes a lot more noise. Stairs! We love stairs. Oh, stairs are so good for us. That's why we run them every other day. I'm gonna keep you forward facing for a minute. Kind of get my form figured out. Kind of re-aggravated a back injury during our move. So I've been rehabbing it. Trying to strengthen core and everything around it. But it is tweaking my gait. Welcome to Tokyo. Thanks for joining me on a run. On any given day, I never really want to run, but it's a processing exercise. It's become something I need to do, that I make myself do. Cat gets me out of my mind and out of the wrong headspaces. It shifts my perspective. And I think it's constantly showing me that I'm capable of far more than I want or desire to do. I don't want to run. I don't want to work out and lift weights. But you can train resiliency. So a lot of people hold on to affirmations. Affirmations are very helpful in a lot of contexts. And I don't hate on affirmations. What I do struggle with, there's certain fitness content creators and things where for instance, I used to do a lot of beach body workouts, like P90X, Insanity. And you know, there's a lot of times where they're doing like cardio kickboxing and plyometrics, and they're smiling through their teeth, trying to like put on this front that it's fun. And it's like, this isn't fun. You're not having fun during this abs section. This sucks. You might know the results are worth it later. Like, downstream, you understand the cause and effect. Sure, there might be some joy that fuels you towards it, but like, let's not pretend. Let's not create these affirmations that let's not disillusion ourselves here, friends. Like, putting in the work sucked. So for me, when I made DadBod, trying to make fitness accessible to folks who are heavier set, have pre-existing health conditions, prior sports injuries. Like, I have demotivational quotes of the day. They're sarcastic, they're snarky. I did one for every lift day. And it's just to like, look at the journey we're about to navigate together and say like, this sucks. This isn't fun. Oh, I hate lunges. It's not to sit in the negativity so much that you then legitimately demotivate yourself. But it's rather like, let's just be honest on what progress and success takes. Like, it takes showing up and doing crap you hate or you don't like, and sure, over time, as you build resiliency, you could adjust your preferences. But I've been doing cold showers for, I don't know, months now. They do me a lot of good. I still dread it every single time. I put it off. I waste time, I stall. Tokyo's hot. You know, I get to run in a really aesthetic country. I get to see more than if I was laying in my bed under my warm blankets, chilling out. You know, there's these little mini dopamine hits and perks of the journey and what I do. At the same time, like, I'm 32. I got spinal injuries I've rehabbed. I'm a big man, 6'3", 300 pounds. You know, eating well, exercising. It's the path of pain. It's difficult. But if you do it, you choose a different pain, or lack thereof, downstream as you progress from obesity into diabetes, heart disease, loss of mobility. So we'll see. Yo! Being a vert? Is that how I'm saying? Let me look at you a little closely. Please make mod. Beanie Ver YouTube. Hey friend. Well, let me share my mod policy with you. First of all, welcome. Here's some nice flowers for you. A grandpa lives here, and he really works hard to maintain his garden. It's beautiful. And in the same way, I work hard to maintain my digital mod for me, who I instill with the power of shepherding this community, which means normally they normally have to be a part of my community and engage in it for 6 months to a year. I have to understand values and just make sure they understand the essence of who I am and the space I'm trying to make. So, Beanie over YouTube. Thank you for the offer. I'll keep it in mind. But no magic power yet. Ride. But we're almost to the river, so that's exciting. Stairs. So we got maybe 0.2 miles. Alright. And then we'll, yes. Oh, hi, yes. Exactly. But happy you're here. Whew, tell me a bit about yourself. What brings you here? Besides an algorithm. What part of the world you live in? What do you want to be when you grow up? And if you're an adult, what do you want to be when you grow up? That question still matters. Whew, I'm 32. I'm still figuring it out. So today, we have a recovery run. It's just 2 miles. So maybe like 4K. So let's get to it. Keep plunking along. Singing my song. Running all day. So there's like a little, it's not a water tower, but it's like some kind of overlook tower. I don't know, maybe it's for bird watching, who knows. But once I get to it, it's kind of that structure up there with the white gate at the top of it. That's just past the 1 mile marker. And then we'll turn it back, head down to the river, have a little moment of prayer and mindfulness. A little bit of stillness that the internet so desperately needs. And then we'll head back. And it's fun when it's done. So let's stay in the journey. Let's crank it up. It's the only way to get better. Just keep going. Keep pushing. Tough one today, friends. First of all, it's not like any of this is outside my capability. It's hard. I think it's literally just desire. Like, I don't want this workout today. It's tough. It's hot. I'm sore. I'm crunchy. Get older, your joints get crunchy. But today, I'm home. I'm here with it. By the way, this side's Tokyo. There's a river over there. If you cross it, it's Kawasaki, which is part of Kanagawa Prefecture. Get ready for the 1 mile turnaround. Yeah. Dreadful. Absolutely dreadful. So hot. The camera's shaking. It's so good. Let's keep pushing. Just a little ways more, and then we can walk. Now, being the fool that we are, we registered for a half marathon in October. So today marks, I guess, on paper day 1. of starting to intentionally train for the half. So we're gonna start building up mileage little by little. The first thing I want to build up is strength and mobility, and trust that the cardio will follow. So today's just an easy, well, it's supposed to be easy recovery, but we still gotta find the right form, the right intensity, the right pace, and come out here and do what we can only do. Because nobody can work out for me. I gotta go out and work out for me. But these Wednesday recovery runs lay a good foundation for half marathon training. On Mondays, we come in recovered and we hit our long run. And we build those long runs up all the way until we hit 13.1 miles, which is a half marathon. Whew, it's about 20K, 20 kilometers for you metric friends. And then on Fridays, we focus, well, Mondays focuses on sustained endurance. Looking good. Huge Cameron, how's it going, friend? I'm glad you think that. I feel sweaty, hot, fatigued, gross, out of breath. We're about 1.2 miles into this thing. But Wednesdays, there are recovery runs. And then Fridays, that's where we hit cardiovascular endurance. We do a certain kind of interval training, which just straight up sucks. It's called fartleks. If you go to my channel, there's all kinds of them that I've run. And basically do low intensity is your half marathon pace. And you get a glorious minute at that tempo. And then we do ladders of higher intensity. Here's the walk, thank God. We're going out to the water. It'll be nice. You'll have something to see. We do high intensity, which is actually similar to the pace I just ran. I don't know why I'm going so fast today. Maybe I'm impatient, maybe I feel like I got too much to do. But then the higher intensity, got a nice sunrise coming in behind me. There's no way I could have held that much longer. The higher intensity, we do 30 seconds, a minute 30, 2 minutes, 2:30. When we start getting into push-it-ville, those intervals on the upper end, we end up doing 3 minutes. Hardest I've gone is 3.5 minutes. That was wild, incredibly challenging. Freddie, what's up, friend? You caught me in the middle of our recovery run, which for some reason I'm running harder than I should. So, hey, extra points for challenging ourselves, I guess. Especially coming off a back injury from moving. Joe's making all the good choices today. Now, last night it was a little wet, so let's see if we can get down here. But if the long grass is too wet and I lose resolve, we'll go hang out on those stones for a minute. But this is the special part of my Wednesday recoveries, just to provide some context. What you're about to experience, nothing too crazy. I promise I'm not one of those crazy people online. Although, then again, I don't know a lot of people that pop a GoPro on their head, go on adventure runs, or 300 pounds, and do engineering content and life in Japan, and all kinds of other stuff. So maybe I'm crazy. Am I a little crazy? It's fine. It's fine. It's good for us. Oh, how nice. So, yeah, this is a good little spot. What we're going to do here, as I have spider webs on my face, running for me has been a journey over the last, I don't know how many years now, pushing a decade. I started running long distance in high school, even though I was a lineman for football. I ran the mile. I was the largest guy doing the mile. Always finished last. Always got a standing ovation because people were impressed that someone of my size could actually move that far and not die. But you know, in my mid-adulthood life, running was actually more of like a spiritual practice. Like, coming from a faith context, I would go out, I would run half a mile because if I had a lot of injuries, a lot of pain, and then I'd like sit on a bench and pray and wrestle with God, like, what's going on in my life and why? Why is this so hard and bad? And then I get off the bench, have a shifted perspective in some capacity. I had that cathartic release of everything I was feeling, but not physically feeling. And then I would get on with my day and go and lead across all the hard, challenging things that happen in life, right? So that was kind of like a process for me. And then I was doing years of physical therapy. I was getting epidural injections in my back, which I can feel right now. My back is not super happy today. It's all right. Every day is not perfect. I gotta focus on locking in my core. I gotta do a little bit of rehab. But I started to be able to travel more distances actually along this river, where I would start running along it until I got to a bridge, and I found I could run over the bridge and back, and then over the bridge and along, and then back up. And I started tacking on distance and ran my first half marathon since my injuries in Japan. And then I ran a second one and a third one, training for a fourth one. I had done 2 in America before I had a lot of weight and spinal issues. But all that said, on Wednesdays, now that I like live stream and stuff, I try to create just a moment of stillness, mindfulness, prayer, and reflection for folks, because I know people come from different interfaith spiritualities and lack thereof. And TikTok, YouTube, all these things are a very swipey culture, very loud. There's more noise in our life than ever before, more distraction. So I try to give you all 5 minutes where I don't talk, give you some little water sounds, and you can think and reflect on your life. Whether you want to think on your purpose, or what your next is, or what you're struggling with, or you can chat amongst yourselves if you need to fill the silence. But it's also just good for people, I think, to practice some restraint, to stay in one moment longer than 15 seconds between moving to the next thing. So that's what we're about to do. Give you a little moment of stillness, enjoy these water sounds in the river, and then I will be right back after I do a little bit of prayer and reflection. So we've been live 22 minutes. I'll come back at like 27 minutes. So enjoy. Hey, what's up? All right. Oh, that was nice. It's nice to stop and think. So we're gonna walk a little bit because it is our recovery day. We have woken up. We have ridden our bike. We have made it to this location. We've got into the wilderness, out of our home, out of the concrete jungle of Tokyo. Because of that, we have earned the privilege of walking. I'm just kidding. Walking's not a privilege. Anyone can walk. Walking's good for us. Freddie, appreciate you, friend. Dude, you have like consistently popped in, and I appreciate you in many, many ways. I'm happy you're here. Can you remind me, just like where you're from, loosely? I don't need your actual address, right? What you want to be when you grow up or what you're working on. I'm trying to like pin you in my mind. I need to make a global map for our community so that I could just like refer to the map. Eventually, when I have a more high production live experience, I'll be able to push a button. It'll like pull up the community map and turn it and find someone and be like, ah, Freddie. Freddie's from Guatemala. He's got 17 children and he's really passionate about basket weaving or something, right? Like, that'd be so sweet. It takes a little bit of work to make something like that. Well, you should try a version of this where you put the mic to your belly. Ah, that's right, you're the belly noise guy. How's it going, friend? OG-san's up and at it. He's our favorite. Let's walk up these stairs. One of my favorite things that you see every once in a while in Japan and in other contexts is like when people are carrying small dogs because they can't navigate steps, or in this context, grass, she's still carrying that small dog across the grass. So she's either going for the strength training or there's this perception that the dog is so inept and not useful. I can make it. It must be lifted and brought from A to B. I'm not a dog person, I'm sorry, I'm not a cat person. I think the functional utility of animals in the home is very low, unless you intend to eat them. That's pedantic. I know a lot of people love their soft, fuzzy things, it's fine. But like, if you have to carry a dog from A to B, is it really a dog? That's a good question. Deep reflection for the morning. Dylan! How's it going, bud? Nice to see you. Dude, we get to hang out today, don't we? This is so fun. I've been putting like so much time into this video edit. It's so exciting. I want to share it, but it's not done. So I'm just like, I'm pushing for done. But I'm trying to like hit the same level as Alakazam when we worked on that. I'm trying to push beyond it. So it's going to be kind of like, in sales, you typically have something called like leads generation. Where it's like, how do you get leads that you could then like DM and then meet in person and then share a product and build a relationship, provide value, and then you have like closing or like a call to action where they purchase your product or service or whatever. This video is like all the way at the top. Like it's, so if I'm trying to get more high ticket offers from people so that I can leverage my time better financially, I need the top of that funnel to be really good. So that's what I've learned a lot about myself. You're from Canada? Freddie G, no way. No way. Some of my best friends online are from Canada. Musa Boot is a fitness live streamer on Twitch. He's kind of pulled off of socials a little bit, but we actually built the DadBod half marathon training program together. So he was my online coach. So he gave me all my strength and conditioning workouts, my lifts, and then I did all of the runs because I enjoying's the wrong word. I make myself do long distance running because for some reason that's what I make myself do. A lot of times my why is ambiguous even to myself. So we'll see how long I can continue. I think I'm on day like 420 or something of my fitness journey since starting DadBod. Because I set the program up at day 0. So it's like You could literally start with overweight Joe and go run. And today, 400 something days later, I'm still overweight Joe, but I have way less pain, way more strength, way more mobility. I can run farther and faster. So that way when people come into our channel on day 800 and I figure out nutrition a little bit better and I'm cut for some reason, I have a different DadBod. I don't want people to think they're going to get to that over the course of 16 weeks doing the half marathon training program, because that's not what success looks like. So I always wanted people to have a number connected with where they meet me and where they do the journey, so that their expectations that they put on themselves are realistic and representative. Like, I was watching some of my first strength videos because my wife, after multiple years, has finally consented to letting me coach her on her journey, just based on the motivation of pain. During this last pregnancy, she had a lot of challenges. She was had gestational diabetes again, which means it's like you become diabetic while you're gestating a baby, which sounds like while you're eating a baby, but it's while you're creating one. Latin's so weird. And then it normally goes away, but on this last one, like, she had a lot of risk factors for it to continue. We're both obese, but she's noticed just like a change in my athleticism, my overall health and well-being. And she, after having 4 kids, we're done with kids, it's like, let's finally take time to kind of flip her overall health and well-being. And because of a lot of depression and anxiety and insecurity and all these other things, she navigates, like, she gets in these start, overwhelm, failure, repeat loops. Start a program, can't do certain movements because the modifications aren't right for where her body's at. Doesn't see immediate results after a day to a week to a couple weeks. Stops, gets down on herself for a couple weeks, finds the courage to start over, but starting over, dreading that she'll fail. They're building a house over here. This was a dirt plot. It's kind of cool now. And she just kept going through those loops, right? Because it was like every time some crazy life thing happened, like we relocated 12 times to get here, that had a huge impact on her mental health, on her physical health. So she has all these entrained loops of start fail. And then the choice to start and continue is often blocked by preference. Like, I don't want to blah. 1 second. Here's our nice river, by the way. This is Todoroki Ravine. It's my favorite. Someday when I have an in-person running club that joins me on these lives, that'll be sick. I mean, someday if like podcasting takes off and we have a lot of listeners and that grows, it'd be so sweet to like do a running podcast. It's like someone flies out to Japan, we meet out here at 4 a.m, we both put a GoPro on our head and we just jog and chat. That'd be so cool, because it would just be so weird. Like Kevin Hart had a podcast where people would, I think it's called like Cold as Balls or something, where you would just go in a nice bath with like Mark Cuban. And like the novelty of where that conversation's taking place is fun. But like, you need money in order to fly people to locations to talk to them. Unless you have like a circle of friends that's cool that you want to just invite over, which is where a podcast can start. But like all of my network, the people I'd want to talk to, they're all global because of working with J&J. It's like the only feasible way to do it initially is over Zoom. But anyway, I was on a story and I lost the punchline. Where were we going with the other story? Oh, so my wife has consented. There we go. Found it. So like a lot of times her start, fail, stop, restart loops are all driven by preferential feelings. Like she wakes up and it's too hot, I don't want to go out. Or she didn't sleep well, I don't want to wake up and work out. And it's not excuses. It's literally like those preferential inertias are so high that she can't break through them consistently enough to see any progress because it's almost like learned helplessness. Like there's this, oh, no, I think it's still closed. Let's see if they still have the big gate. I'm going to say I don't read Japanese, so I'm just going to walk around this. I'm sure Dylan can read it. Yeah, I think it's still closed off back there. But we're going to walk around it a little bit. There's actually like, it's gated off. This is like where my runs and like the spiritual practice connected with them really started to flourish in Japan. And then trees started falling, and the city of Todoroki didn't have money to cut back the trees and make them safe, apparently. So they prevent people. Meanwhile, like, I was running down this trail in a typhoon. This river was all the way to the top. It was super sketch and awesome. Don't run in the typhoon. Do as I say, children, not as I do, right? But anyway, my wife, consent, she's basically consented to letting me coach her, which means I can just eliminate choice. Like one of the reflections she started to have, we were closed off to pedestrians, you're right here, is like, she can't say no. Like she talked about, like in high school, she was a 3-sport athlete. And even though she hated running and she hated lifting and she hated all these things, she could just do stuff and be really fit and athletic because she was constrained to what the coaches made her do. So she didn't have choice. But in your 30s, and earlier than that, you have a lot more choices. What you eat, how active you are, how you stretch and lift, how you spend your time. Even if you start to feel like your life unravels out of control, it's because you haven't found a pathway to control what you can. And so the working agreement we've landed on of recent, let me check time because it's about 6. Yep, I gotta get back. Is that she's letting me coach her. And while she's allowed to get mad at me, she's gonna stay in the journey. So we're on day 10 together. And even over 10 days, I've just seen like immediate small shifts because she's not a morning person. We're making her a morning person. And it sucks. And we're doing things that suck. And for someone with all those loops and depression, like breaking through that inertia is so hard. But that mental health space, like it literally is leading her to choices that are killing her over time. And I know there's a lot of people online that also navigate mental health. And being married to someone for, where are we at, 12 years? We've been together for 16. I have nothing but compassion for you, friend. It is so hard to start. I think it's even harder to continue. And when you have that mental weight that just makes you want to withdraw and disappear, it's so hard to break it alone. Doesn't mean it's not possible. Doesn't mean people can't develop that willpower, those routines, those disciplines. There's also space for pharmaceuticals, therapy, all the other pieces. But everyone comes in a different disposition with different challenges to overcome and different challenges that they can't. And regardless of whether or not they fail, I think the attempt is just as sacred. So I'm really energized trying to come alongside Felicia in her journey. I've seen her suffer for years from a mental health and physical perspective. So I'm really trying to block out time to be there one-on-one with her, to learn patience for her in her journey, but also be able to gauge when I can push. You know, she's established a couple boundaries where she's like, This is what the night was. I'm not waking up. Sometimes I push in on that. Sometimes I'm like, I'm going to push in on you when you wake up, that you're still doing it, right? Because we're not going to have perfect workouts and perfect wake-ups and a perfect life. It's just diligent, continuous, incremental progress. That's all we can do. And unfortunately, in many seasons of our life, we lack diligence, we lack consistency, and we have incremental decay. Whether it's of our health, our well-being, our fitness, our intellect, our time management. We just let things kind of steer us towards incremental decay. I don't think you ever really have like incremental steady state. You're either declining or rising. And I think being able to discern that's super hard. Unless you have someone as a partner who you let into your life, you let them see the imperfections, and then you take it from there. But this has been a wonderful recovery. All right, we have our big road. I hate this road. It just ruins the whole vibe, but there's no other path to the river because they've closed my ravine for like a year. For a year I've been taking this stupid overpass, whereas the ravine runs under this road. It's awesome. And it's much quieter. It's got like shadows and stuff. So we get to blister in the sun and ascend these stairs. These godforsaken stairs. It's so hot. It's 100 degrees. I'm trying to build a dining room table, but I'm also doing all this stuff for my own business. And the kids are not in school, so I'm trying to be present. Like, it's so hard to work from home when you have 4 small children in a very small house. And you feel the need to enrich them and be present with them, which is real and true. Those are things I need to do. But I also need to work out, and I also need to video edit, and I also need to go and connect with people and do Zooms and travel around Shibuya to start a company. And I also need to build a table so I can park my car in my frickin' garage, because I've been parking it at a parking lot. I guess I was. Yeah, I've been paying like $12 a day to park my car, but it's been like a month. Has it been a month? When was the move out? June 30th? Yeah, it's July 18th or something. So it's getting up there as an expense. But I also have to tell myself, like, I can't do everything all at once, incremental progress, right? So like last night, got the kids to bed around 7:30, and I was like, Felicia, I'm gonna go into the garage. And the garage, all the heat beats on this. It's a 3-car garage where we share with our neighbors, which makes woodworking incredibly challenging. And it's got a tin roof, so the thing is just an oven collecting and retaining and bouncing heat all through the day. So even when you go in there at 7:30, it's still holding all this residual heat that's been oven cooking and then soaking into the concrete that then radiates it back as a hot rock on you. Like you just insta-drip. Anyway, I made myself go out there with my son, and like he wanted to connect and wanted to be part of the project. So it was cool to bring him in, I'm not used to working with him on projects like that. And I was hot and focused, and he kind of slowed my pacing down, which is good. Yeah, he slowed the pacing, which is helpful for me to just recognize, like, it's not about cranking out the table. The table's part of it. I'd like to stop eating on the floor after living here for a month, right? But it's also about showing him my thought process. So I treated it like a live stream. When I live stream and I'm doing DIY, like, all I do is something I do and just narrate what I'm doing unless there's a question. parenting is like the same thing. Like, often more is caught than taught. Like, there's specific moments where I try to teach my kids something, a lesson, a knowledge thing, a behavior. And if I'm honest, it's not always the most successful. Like, does a 7-year-old really want to sit and be lectured? No. Is it easier for me as a parent that they're lecturable? Yes. But that's not how kids work. And I fight against the natural grain of their tiny brains all the time. It's part of the journey. But when I say caught, like, they're always watching. They're always seeing your behaviors, what you value, how you talk to people, how you behave, what you're doing. And they're gleaning. The things that I've heard my kids repeat and say that they've seen us do, it's just incredible. Little mannerisms, little inside jokes, even for 3 and 5-year-olds to repeat. It's really neat. And I realized, sure, I'm not going to get this table put together, sanded and assembled in one night in the hot box. But I can show my son how I'm trying to navigate wood that is warped and how I'm trying to make it straight. And just chat through what I'm doing and let him hold a flashlight. Or he had an idea it was a magnetic flashlight to like hang it off the ceiling. That was awesome. You know, validate it. He's trying to be in my world. Am I willing to be in his, right? And I think as parents, it's easy to miss those moments when we're putting out all these fires and going 400 miles an hour. So it kind of chilled the pacing out a little bit. So I'm going to go take a cold shower, train my wife, and ramp it up today until I can find those moments again. Anyway, friends, I got to head home. I just got to my bike. So see you on the next one. Keep changing the world, Dylan. Have a great evening. Later.